Hey, welcome back to the most innovative shipping container channel on YouTube, and this is going to be a weekly update. So behind me, I've got a 20-foot open side, and you'll notice it is blue. That's an RAL 5013 cobalt blue color, and the customer wanted a blue open side. Well, actually, two of them. The other one is sitting over yonder, and as you guys probably know, most new or one-trip shipping containers are ivory, which is that light cream color. And occasionally you can get blue containers and they're not worth quite as much money as ivory or slate gray or something else because they're blue. But some people really want blue, and I couldn't find any blue 20-foot open side containers, which you can only get new anyway. So we are having to paint these. So let's flip around, take a look at this and a few other pretty cool projects we got going on and go from there. All right, so I'm going to go kind of project by project, but before I move into the warehouse, I'm going to give you a little bit of a broad scope of what the shipping container market is doing currently. If you're in the market to buy a container or kind of wondering what prices are doing or what the status of all that is, I will sort of do an update on that. But let's start off with this first project. This is a 20-foot open side. You can only get an open side, which are the doors open all the way up. And I've done videos on open side containers. You can get a 20-foot container with two 8-foot doors, has a post in the middle. Those are cheaper than a full open side. This is a full open side container, so you open the doors and it's completely open. Full open side containers, 20-foot and 40-foot, are the most commonly scammed containers on Facebook Marketplace and online. I don't know why. You can only get these new, and depending on your area, and I know I'll probably get comments on this, but these are $5,000 to $6,000 no matter where you are. They are never $3,000 or $4,000. Never. Doesn't matter if you're right by LA or Houston, which are the cheapest ports. They are generally never below $5,000. So we painted this blue for the customer. That's the color they wanted. I could not find blue for this customer. Sometimes the blue are floating around, but they wanted a darker blue anyway, so we went with a cobalt blue. We did roll this paint, and the only thing you need to pay attention to when you paint a container is mask off your seals and mask off your handles. I see a lot of people spray containers. They spray the handles and seals. It's your own prerogative. It's your container. I just think it looks like garbage if you spray over the seals and the handles. And this is a nice open side because it's got the easy open handle, which is this handle versus those two. So most containers have two handles here, two here. This has one here, two here. So this is much easier to open and quicker, more handy. And this is called a 3-handle or easy open container. And you'll see it's still got the easy open here on the side as well. So this is a really nice open side. And we just got done painting that one, so we need to paint that one. So that's what we started off with. They got two of them, and then we are actually going to make them some custom ramps that go right here between the fork pockets, which are right there and there. And we're going to cut curves in it so the handles can open and operate while the ramp is there. So I'll show you an example of that. So while we are heading that way, I will just tell you, I've seen 40-foot containers, used and new, jump up in the past few weeks. I don't know why. I guess there's sort of worldwide shipping turmoil, and so I don't really control prices, at all. I could bump prices up or down based on what the containers are costing me, but I have no say on the input or cost of supply. So if a container moves up, I move it up. If it moves down, I move it down. I don't speculate. I don't hedge. I get my margin no matter if the container prices move up or down. If I think they're moving up, I don't bump my current inventory up, and so on. I just keep the same margins no matter what. And what I've seen in the market for the past year or so is we sell way more new containers than used. 40-foot are the best value for your money. A 40-foot double door is the best container for the money, and that's doors at both ends. You cannot get a used double door shipping container. 20-foot used are the worst deal in the market. They are still the cheapest container, but they are the worst value. They have never come down to where they should be based on the price of other containers. Now, we're in Wichita, Kansas, so we're not really close to a depot. And the closer you get to large depots like Houston, LA, You know, Tampa, things like that, containers get cheaper. But a used 20 in my area is $2,500, something like that. And they're you know, they're 15 years old and containers last forever and all that. But I would spend the extra $1,000 and get a brand new container. So I have not seen 20-foot containers creep up recently, but I have seen 40-foot containers creep up. So let's go take a look at this ramp, and then we will buzz inside and take a look at a couple of the current projects. So we've also done a video on this, but this is what we office out of to keep our warehouse space open. Two 20-foot containers, the walls are cut out, so it's just one big office inside. The whole apparatus runs off of one extension cord. So here's what I was talking about with the ramp. Now this is not lined up perfectly because we haven't been using it. It's just here for show. But you butt this right up to the container and your doors will operate, and you can just leave that ramp in place. And you've got a really nice way to get forklifts and cars and all that into the container without moving ramps or picking them up. And you know, this is almost 8 feet wide. And so that's what we are going to build for these open side containers. I don't know exactly what the idea is. I think they're taking forklifts into them from the side, but they want those ramps, so that's what we're going to do. Let's buzz in the shop here and take a look at a couple of these projects. All right, so I did have a question. Why do you frame containers on 16 centers? Well, framing containers on 16 centers is the right way to do it. If you want to be fast and you just want to frame the container, you are more than welcome to run your studs on the corrugation, which end up being like, oh, I want to say they're 14 inches. It's just weird to me. I don't do it. We frame everything on 16 centers. So this is a concession stand. It's got the concession window there with the sliding screen doors. You can see we've got the mini split ready to go. The lines are in the wall. Can't even really see them anymore. You can see a little hump right there. That's your mini split lines. I'll show you the exterior view. Yes, we do put the mini split lines in the wall. Question is, well, what if they fail? You got a leak. Well, that's fine. I mean, you can just find the leak, but you leak check it before you spray foam. And the other thing is, some people have said, well, why don't you just run your lines exposed on the outside? Well, because it looks like garbage. And if you have a leak on the inside and you absolutely can't fix it, well, you end up on the outside anyway. But we've installed a gazillion mini splits, and I've never had a problem with the lines on the inside of the container. So running mini split lines on the outside of the container, it just looks like junk. It's not the professional way to do it, so we're not going to do it. I'm not concerned with them leaking, because if you don't have a leak when you open the lines up and run the mini split, you're not going to acquire a leak. You're only going to get a leak from kinking lines or having someone doing a sloppy install. These containers are painted as well. The customer wanted these black, so this is a concession stand. That one's a bathroom. These are going to the same location. It's for a city, so these are going to be really cool, really cost effective. They're doing 4 12-inch columns for each one, and then we're going to dig underneath for the plumbing on each one, a little trench. And so these will be elevated a little bit. We do not recommend elevating shipping containers if you're using them for storage. The only time I recommend elevating shipping containers or using piers is when you have plumbing. So we're going to plumb them and then bury all that back. And both of these are climate controlled, so we're not going to have frozen line concerns or problems. So you can see the mini split there. We run a 12,000 BTU mini splits on all these 20 footers, which is just basically complete overkill. Here is a slate 20-foot office, and I will show this one to you. We framed it, and we have not spray foamed it yet. So it's going to give you a really good look at the framing situation. We go 16 centers. We stop right here on the caulk line. When your door closes, you're about 1 inch away. So we fur that door out, and by the time we get an interior finish on here, that butts up with virtually zero gap. Now you can frame these outside, just build all your frames, and then come back and cut your studs, and then do your door and window. At this point, we like to take measurements and build our cutouts for our doors and windows before we bring the frames in. But if you want to go really fast and build a ton of 8-foot frames, you could just build all those, bring them in, and then cut the studs out, and then box that in. So you can see here, we use 2x3s, gives you absolute maximum ceiling height and width. And if we do a high cube container, it's the same thing. We do not drop the ceiling down. We take it all the way up, because if you got a high cube container, why not use it? You can see the mini split lines here. We're going to run those behind this back frame. You can see our back frame comes off the wall about 3 inches. Corner castings up there in the corner, and we get flush with those. So you're left with this in the corner of the container, which with OSB or shiplap, that's a perfect corner, and you get rid of those corner castings. And we have a gap in the back to run the mini split lines, and we usually do the mini split on the back of the container, so everything works out perfect. If you guys want any additional information on framing or blueprints or anything like that, give us a shout. We do sell these containers, these offices. This is a 20-foot office, 2 48-inch windows. We do not use 36-inch windows. Just bump that size up. It looks a lot better. So 2 48-inch windows, the walk door mini split runs off an extension cord, OSB painted, which is a little cheaper, or we do shiplap, a little bit more money, looks nicer, LED lights, extension cord plug-in, all the electrical run. We sell those for anywhere from $14,000 to $16,000 out the door, ready to ship, and we can usually ship them within 1 to 2 days. This is the black bathroom with this other 20-foot container. So this is going to be units. Ignore this fiberglass insulation. This is a divider wall. We away from everywhere. Never buy a container that's insulated with fiberglass all the way around. It has a moisture concern when in containers. And if you don't insulate the floor on a container, it's a big no-no. Do not buy that container. So do not buy any container that has fiberglass insulation, that does not have the floor sprayed, or has a window unit air conditioner. It will never keep up. It's got to be a mini split. So this is a bathroom unit. So we got 2 ADA bathrooms. These are about 8 foot by 10 foot. The flap, which like I said, looks a bit nicer. We're going to put a vent in here, thermostat controlled vent. So that's going to suck the air, heat or cool from the other side and keep this side good. We're going to have a vanity a toilet, vanity, toilet, vanity, sink, and then we're going to have a point of service water heater. I think they're going electric on the water heater. I'm not sure yet, but you can get those little point of service. They're like 30 amps at 120 volts for like a sink for hot water, so you don't have to do anything crazy. We're actually going to run these 240 volt in this situation because they got plenty of power on site. But normally you can always run 20-foot containers with heat and air and everything else off just an extension cord. So here's the Della Mini Split 12,000 BTU, and like I said, we're going to have a thermostat controlled fan pulling and pushing the air back and forth to keep the other side warm and cool. And these are more containers. Like I said, did a video on this as well, but we rolled these. Gives us a pretty nice factory texture, and it's just too hot to paint outside right now. We could spray outside. Rolling does take a little bit more time, but I like the finish on it, and we're not going to spray inside the building, so we're just rolling, painting. And whenever we install walk doors and all that on new containers, we're just rolling that ivory paint to touch up around where it's installed. Here's typical 36 by 80 steel walk door. We do sell the walk door with the frame built. We do ship those. So if you guys are interested in those, and we do sell the slabs as well. I do not have a door frame sitting here, but we have the slabs and frames, and we're always building those. There's a couple little other options on these 20-foot offices that you can go with a black window, and then we also make the shutter. So when we cut the window out, we can take that corrugation box in, we put shocks on it, we make a shutter, which you could see on our office out there. So that's kind of the weekly update. We've got a bunch of offices to build, and then we're doing a 40-foot in here. And I'd like your guys' ideas or suggestions on the 40-foot. We're gonna do 30 feet of office and 10 feet of storage at the container end. If you guys got any better ideas or have pictures of what you think we should build, let me know. But we're gonna peel off and do a 40-foot real quick. That is not a customer project. So we're just gonna build that how we want it and sell that. And we are in Wichita, Kansas. So like I said, we can ship any of these anywhere in the US very affordably. and we do the highest quality possible work out there. Oh, that reminds me about spraying the floor of the container. Look at this. Do not buy a shipping container, office, or home if the floor of the container is not spray foamed. Never do it. It will not work, or if it has a window unit. And then you can see here the concession window, it's locked shut. But this is going to be a really cool little concession container. One more thing I would add is if you're running a food truck, buy a container, put a concession window on it, move it around on a trailer, or have a local tow truck guy just take it to each site for the weekend. The container is going to save you a ton of money over maintaining a food truck or having to have a CDL driver for the food truck. Just get a container. It's very secure. You lock it up, walk away. So if you want a food truck container built, give us a shout. Carl, C-A-R-L, at simpleshippingcontainers.com or Dallas at simpleshippingcontainers.com, and we can get you drawings made up and give you a quote. So as always, thanks for watching. Give us comments, likes, please share. I kind of do all these videos informationally so you guys can work on containers and have a lot of information. There's a lot of things I had to learn on my own. Just the content wasn't out there. So like I said, I love the questions. I try to answer all of them. And have a good Labor Day weekend.